Yo, yo, what up, y'all? This your boy Garrett Spencer. How's everybody doing? I wanted to make this video talking about another thing that keeps me motivated and keeps me up on my retro game, keeps me up playing my retro games and wanting to get more and what that is and why because so this past Sunday, me and my fiance we was watching this show on demand called Toys Built in America, and one of the subjects, of course, we watched was on the topic where they was talking about video games, and basically, video games start from the 1960s, even though it began with PC gaming, which was called Pong. And of course, if you guys remember, if you guys were PC gamers as well, like I was a PC gamer, but the only thing was I wasn't around. I wasn't around in the six. It was in the 1960s. I know that for sure. But I have played. I do remember playing Pong on the PC on computer, like in elementary school and stuff like that. It was pretty fun, but then when they started getting to another thing that was like getting me a little bit excited, like thinking about Mad Memories, was like when they started getting to the game system, when they started getting to the game systems, and of course the start off was Nintendo, seeing them talk about Super Mario Brothers, and seeing them talk about what other game were they talking about for oh yeah, then Duck Hunt, like I said, Duck Hunt on the NES. And the thing is, I've only played Duck Hunt at the arcade. I never actually owned it on the NES years ago. Didn't really have it, and I don't even think I had the gun controller to the Nintendo. But I've been wanting to get that, and I guess because I'm just too busy waiting on seeing if I can find a decent price on the regular NES to where they play cartridges, so I could get it again. Because there's a whole lot more games that was on the NES that they didn't put on the NES Mini Classic, of course, which I'm not really wasn't going to expect them to do that, unless if you were going to hack them. But when I was just seeing all that on Toys Built in America, you know, it was basically, to me, it's like the start on how video games started off, and how started off so great, and why are they so great and whatnot. So Nintendo was one, and and after they were talking about Nintendo, of course, then they was talking about when they got into Sega Genesis. And then when I seen them doing Super Mario Brothers, the gameplay on Super Mario Brothers, and then when they got to Sega Genesis, the Sega Genesis console, and then they got the Sonic One, the gameplay on Sonic One. I was like, oh yeah, that's my game right there, my main game right there. And then Streets of Rage 2, and then there's just like the talk about Sega. It's like the talk about those first two systems, Sega and Nintendo. Definitely takes me back to my childhood, because I owned the Sega Genesis Model One, the one that I have right now. I owned that back then, and I also had a regular Nintendo. Now I had kind of had a lot of games for the Sega Genesis back in the day, but I think I probably have a lot more now than I did back then. And Nintendo, I can't remember. Besides Super Mario Brothers on Nintendo, I can't really remember what other games I had on the NES. I don't even know if I had any more. Did I or did I not? But if I did, I can't remember what they was. But the history. But Toys Built in America, talking about video games. Definitely a great story. Definitely a great story. Talk about video games, and then So basically, they talked about Nintendo, Sega, and then they got the like Super Nintendo. They got the Super Nintendo, which Super Nintendo's a pretty decent system. And then I guess they were like doing a little competition, like thinking like Sega Genesis has muscle over Nintendo, because I guess there's different opinions. Some people think that Sega's better than Nintendo, and then Super Nintendo was better than Sega, or Sega's better than Super Nintendo. They was talking about something like, it's talking about something like that, and it was also mentioned about you know, say there was, Super Nintendo, there were certain games Super Nintendo didn't have that Sega had, and I don't think they mentioned exactly what, but there was a little bit of similarity. There was, I guess you could say, there's a little bit of similarities to it, because I mean, my similarities to Sega Genesis and Super Nintendo is that they both play cartridges that you put inside the system the exact same way that Sega Genesis does, and then Super Nintendo does, of course, and then you know and then the NES, they kind of go in like a disc, like putting a disc in a computer, so to speak. But and then they got to talking about Nintendo 64, the Sega Master, which I never played the Sega Master, and then they talked about the Dreamcast, N64, Xbox, and that type of stuff, and then Game Boy, I believe. So basically, all the systems that was made in the old generation before the games in the new generation that took place, and then there was PlayStation 2 as well. And so it's like watching that show, and then watching that show, and then watching the history on YouTube. What you guys could also do is watch the history, like a history of video games on YouTube, and they talk about like basically the history of video games. But that brought me back so many mad memories. It's keeping me motivated. It's definitely keeping me up, keeping me on my my retro games, and like keeping me wanting to continue to play them, and just like always in my head, just realizing that man, so great, glad and thankful that that I got back into buying retro games and playing retro games even after three of my Xbox 360s died, and glad that I got them while they were still cheap before the prices of them went up, because it would have been like if I didn't have them anymore, and I was watching Toys Built in America this past Sunday. Just watching all of that, just like the gameplay of Sonic, Super Mario Brothers, and Streets of Rage 2, and like some of the other games that I may have seen. If I didn't have my retro game, if I didn't have the games no more, and I'm watching all that, I'd have been like, in my mind, I would have been like, man, I got to get those back. I have got to buy those systems, and I gotta get those back, man, because I missed them. Retro games was the shit. Always was and always will be. And it was just so mad memories. And then even like I said, from the time I was a kid, so addicted to where I was always hoping that hopefully my mom was going to Sears, because back then when I only had a Super Nintendo at the time, because my Sega Genesis, I didn't have it anymore. I was always hoping that my mom was going to Sears or Walmart or Sam's it was Sears, because PlayStation, just so I could play the PlayStation 1 kiosk there. And because one point I didn't have a PlayStation 1, and then even way before that, we were still going to that Sears, and then at the time I had my Genesis, but parents didn't let me play no more, so my only chance was playing that Sega Genesis kiosk at Sears as well. I would, but the point is, I would always hoping that my mom was going out somewhere to a store where they had video games, because I just wanted to go out and play video games. Even certain people that I meet, or like family members or whatnot, I always be like, oh, do you have a video game? What games do you have? Or, even friends in school, I'd be like, oh, what games do you have for this system, with that system? And then, they tell me what they got, and, that thing. But yeah, y'all definitely check that out. Y'all should definitely check that out, y'all, if you guys haven't heard of it. Toys Built in America. Now, I can't remember which part of On Demand it was under, but I'm sure if you could probably type it on YouTube. You might be able to see a glimpse of something or a glimpse of a history channel talking about video games, man. And also, that's just like a reminder of mad memories, and also remind you, like, if you got your retro games, keep them. Don't sell them. Like, do not sell them. Don't lose them, and don't break them. Cause, and especially with the prices of retro games nowadays, it's freaking ridiculous, man. So yeah, that's pretty much what I got to say about that. And it's pretty much all I got to say, y'all. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So y'all know what to do. Leave y'all's comments and thoughts down below. Click that thumbs up. This your boy Garrett Spencer. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you guys next time. And remember, y'all, once a gamer, always a gamer. Keep on gaming, y'all.